All right, we are live, and we got a great surprise for you guys today. We are interviewing, now we've interviewed a ton of agents, but now we are interviewing someone that is huge in the market, has his own title company, very successful. Jim Neighbors, no, I'm just kidding. Jim Schaefer.
Back home again.
Yeah. No, Jim Schaefer, Quality Title, great guy. Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in the title, and kind of go from there.
So my mom started the title company with her partner, and I was finishing my degree, and I was working at Olive Garden. And my mom tells me this, like over dinner, that she's starting this title. I don't know what title is at the time, but I'm thinking, she asked me to write the business plan. She asked me to get involved, and immediately, it's much better for the resume, I'm thinking, to shift over to this. That was 23 years ago. Wow. So, I mean, early on, I thought there were a few moments where I was going to leave, but then something would change, and I stayed with it. And then that was like, I was 22 years old. At 29, I took over her partnership. And then about 5 years later, I offered the company to what was then my partner, which was my mom's original partner. I offered the company to her, just letting her know I'm going to go start my own, or she could work for me. So she stayed and worked for me for another 5 years or so. And I've never looked back. So to me, my business model is people. Like, if I have good people, I can do anything. You're always better as a team than you are alone. So when I brought on different people, quintessential people in my career, as a matter of fact, like the first guy was Rod Brummett. Rod Brummett is my ops guy. He's my right hand. He was doing mobile closings. And at the time, you would pay extra for a mobile closer, but then the title company started eating mobile closing fees, which means I know his margins were going down. So I said, if you do me a favor, please just sit down with me first and just have a conversation with me. Let's see if we can't work together. If the margins get so thin, you need to consider something else. So we had this conversation, and he gives me his number. This is what I need to make. I'm like, that's more than I make. But I knew I was right. I knew I was right about him. I knew I was right about the vision. I knew I was right about where I was going. So for 3 years, I paid Rod more than I paid myself. And it has absolutely paid off. And that was one of the life lessons to me, to really, truly understand that people are everything. So then Karen Collins comes along, some other great human beings in my business, and we've never looked back.
Yeah, I love that, because it is all about the relationships, and you do have to elevate others to find your dreams, right? It is about elevating others. So I love hearing that. That's for sure. Amazing. So
I'm a huge fan. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, how, like, 21st century leadership, it's a little bit different. It feels different. You know, how do you see things changing in your role with the company, or how you're leading differently?
You know, the truth is, I'm tripling down on the soft skills. I know I'm a natural leader. I know I'm an alpha male, but to me, that's not where I find my success. I believe in humility. I believe in self-awareness. I believe in intuition, empathy, perpetual optimism. I mean, these are the things that I have doubled down on and tripled down on. And along the way, there's patience, and then there's empowerment. And I have done that, and that's what I'm most proud of. I mean, it's the fact that I literally could go do something else forever, and Quality Title would run strong. And you know, I'm still big into the growth. I'm still big into opening new offices and you know, being in new markets. But as far as the company's daily ops, I just steer the ship now, and I love that. That's my vision. That's what I like. I'm a visionary. I like to see the big picture. I like to see the machine run, but I really don't want to I don't want to dig the ditch. I want to visualize the entire framework of the drainage system, and then I want to make sure that it gets executed. If I have to pick up a shovel to make it happen, I will. But I know that me as a resource, the best thing is to be in the position that I am in now.
Yeah, they don't want you in that role either, I'm sure.
Right. Stay in your lane. As Karen tells me, stay in your lane. Delegate, stay in your lane. Delegate, stay in your lane.
Yeah, for sure. You kind of would really mess up the program. I get that completely. Well, that's something too, that Rodney and I, we're in sync with that, because it's basically, building it so it can go on its own and grow on its own. And then you can focus on the business and not be in the business. So I think that's key.
There's a finite, right? You can only get to a critical mass to where you can't get any bigger or grow any more if you don't change your own. There it is. If you don't change your own personal role, right? Your role has to evolve too, unless you're just happy, unless you're just content with that size. But the way I see it is this: if you have the talent, there's no reason why we're not growing. I don't even think my company has low-hanging fruit. I think we picked the fruit up off the ground, because the model that I employ, I don't see that being employed anywhere else. And if I did, I would embrace that, because now I've got a social media partner that we could have just a field day if we could get into that airspace and actually celebrate that, that the human resource comes first, which absolutely trickles down to the client.
Yeah. Oh, by far. And that's what I know we take pride in our team. They're amazing, service-oriented humans, right? And that's what it takes to be in the industry we're in with real estate. So with real estate, kind of touch on, navigating through this market and how that affects the title industry, and you guys specifically kind of navigating this crazy, time that we're in, so to say.
There's, at this point with title, I mean, there is less volatility, right? I mean, the company exists now in a way where it can expand and contract with how the market is working. I mean, as long as we just don't crash, which, 08 was that way, but then comes swinging out of 08 comes 09, and 09 was just this booming year. So as long as you adapt, as long as you don't have expectations of how you need the market to be, and as long as you can be flexible with it, I want to get into other markets, right? So that one specific area isn't driving everything, our wins and our losses, right? Diversify, get out of one specific real estate type. So get your commercial, get your residential, get your refinance, get your investors, all of that. And those are ways to guarantee that you can weather any storm. And sometimes the storm is rapid growth. Sometimes the storm is high volume. Where's my title work? This turnaround is too, that's a real true thing. So what do? You cross train people. You make sure you can move people in different spaces as fast as you need to do it. Like all of these things in real time. But it's still the people. It's still that dedication to the task. And that's what I've got. I mean, we adapt very well. Truly.
So I've had buyers and sellers ask in the past, what exactly does a title company do? So for the layman or the people out there buying or selling a home for the first time, explain to everybody what you do and why you're so important to the process.
So you find that in title, you really do become the transaction expert. You massage the transaction to close, right? You get all the parties at least happy enough to sign those papers, to transfer those dollars, and to make sure that the transaction takes place. Now, with that, I mean, layman's terms, we handle the money. All the money goes into our escrow account, and then we pass that out to everybody, according to the Alta statement. Now, behind that, we guarantee that the buyer owns their house outright, and that we would defend against any claim saying otherwise. And then we tell the lender that you are in first lien position, and we will defend anyone that says otherwise. So in the unfortunate event of foreclosure, they have first rights to the collateral, which is why they gave you the money in the first place. And that's basically it. Yeah.
Yep. And I think too, people are always like, what's the title company? They do get confused. Rodney's right. Because not everybody buys and sells a home every day.
Right.
Think about it from this perspective, right? You have personal property and you have real property. And the difference with real property is it never moves. It never goes anywhere. So interestingly enough, we insure back to the beginning of time. We don't insure the future, because you know what you're doing with your house in the time you own it to when the time you sell it. So really, we're just protecting you from the beginning of time to the moment you bought it, which means it's a different insurance in the sense that we do all of our homework first so that there really are no claims or very nominal, low, less than 3% type of numbers.
So I'm glad you brought that up. That's called a general warranty deed. So what's a special warranty deed?
Special is the time in which only you own the property do you warranty to the new buyer. So general says, I warranty to the buyer everything since this property was born. Whereas special just says only the time in which I occupied or held title to it myself. But remember, the deed is only as good as the person behind it and their word. So like literally right now, I could deed you your neighbor's property. I could go file a quitclaim deed it to the herds, file it. It would get recorded, and it would be a valid public record document. What did I deed you? Zip, right? So it's the title policy behind it that actually guarantees those bundle of rights, is what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I love it. That is actually I love the way you explain that. And
Well,
during
it's kind of like tax prorations. If you're good, you got to have about 5 or 6 ways to describe a tax proration.
I like it.
And my favorite finisher is, look, I'm right. I need you to go talk to someone who understands this to tell you that I'm right. You know what I mean? Like that's all I got. I've ran out of ways to explain it. That's all I got.
I always say read the purchase agreement, because actually that's one section of our purchase agreement that explains it pretty well. So that's
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's great. I love it. Well, and I hear some commonality in our world. You know, you're talking about that human resource. It all starts with that. You're wanting to expand right out of your existing geographical area.
For sure.
So another thing, I know that you've started working from home a little bit, and you're set up in your home office there. So how has the effects of COVID changed quality title?
Well, you know, that has been a really fantastic for us, right? I mean, you have Zoom for meetings. You have the ability to work from home. You know, technology communication is so good now. You really can capitalize on your own personal geography and circumstance. I mean, I save at least an hour a day from commuting if I want to work from home. So as long as you have that discipline, because I know some people, like for me personally, I like to come into my home office and that feels like I am not in my house anymore, right? I am working. So I love that. And as long as you can do that, like the lack of distraction, the lack of interruption, because now only people are going to come distract, interrupt, or if they really know that they need you, right? Yeah. And then for me personally, set up this incredible social media setup that I have now and really start getting into content, which if we talk about the future of anything, your personal brand and the branding of your company is everything. So with that in mind, I work out of my office, and there's guilt, right? There's the guilt of wanting to be at headquarters in the heartbeat with I have that, but I'm working through it. We're getting there.
You're getting there. Yeah, technology does wonders. That's for sure.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have opened their minds to that, right?
That's maybe the huge one, right? The acceptance that this meeting is as valid and as good and as fruitful and probably even more beneficial, since we're not wasting time in the car, to have this important conversation and ready break and go off to whatever it is we need to accomplish after.
Yeah, and be quicker with the effectiveness. I think a lot of people, like you said, if they cannot be distracted at home, that happens. Right. You know, we have dogs, people have kids, so sometimes
those fur babies get me. I'll tell you.
Yeah, mine's asleep right now. She's her eyes are a little bit red, so we're good. Now, if she sees a dog walk by, she may interrupt.
Yeah.
If mine joins me, I'll lift her up and introduce.
Oh yeah, I think I saw pictures the other day.
We don't get the dogs on the camera enough. I love it. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Humanizes everything.
Here's just kind of a random question, because I know that I know a little bit about you, not a ton, but what books are you reading now, or what's something that's influenced you recently that maybe you could share with us?
Amanda, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, puts life into perspective in about one page, right? You think your life is rough? Try a concentration camp for 3 hours out of a day and tell me where your head's really at and what your struggles really are. Perspective. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. I'm reading one, Rocket Fuel.
We've read that. That's great.
Going over here. Yep, there it is. Rocket Fuel because I love, I am more of a visionary, but being a small business person, you have to be able to wear all hats at a certain time. And as much as I love being a part of the machine and watching the machine work now, I understand that and that's why I threw out those words early on, is because of rocket fuel. Like I'm just more of a visionary in what rocket fuels me.
Yeah.
And then recently getting into crypto because of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and all of this because I'm a huge fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. And to tell you the truth, I'm kind of coming up with my own theory here, right? So
let's hear it.
Uh-oh. Hey, first we want to say this is not financial advice. He's not a financial advisor.
Yes, not in any way.
Volatility is the key word.
This advice.
Crypto and NFTs, the key word is volatility. So that's all I got. But I'm working on a theory of, if I have a superpower that is something that I've done in business, it truly is my ability to connect with people. And I still can't articulate, why does a Rod Brummett work for me? Why does a Karen Collins work for me? Why do these people want to hang their banner with mine? I still can't quite get it, but maybe that's what makes it metaphysically special. I don't know. But
that's why.
I will tell you, though, I believe in faith investing in people. So, even talking to Rodney at the wine event, he's talking about, different cryptos and things that he's into. Well, what has Rodney shown what consistently has he shown me in the time that I've known him? He's a hustler. He goes after it. He's consistent. He's doing, he conducts himself in a way that if he's telling me this is a thing, and then he, of course, says he's got skin in the game, well, why do I have to go and spend 100 hours learning about this? If I understand where he stands as far as risk, the whole risk reward thing, then I can just kind of bank on him and make decisions based on the homework he did. And that's really what I did with Gary Vee and his NFT launch. I invested because I believe in him. And honestly, the way it really was to me is he's done so much for me in getting my head right and clearing my head and me seeing the picture so well that I don't care if I lose every penny in the project, because he made me that extra money anyway. So I'm just using his money to buy his product to maybe make even more money. And that's the way I think. Now, in 1 month's time, those NFTs that I bought doubled in value. In 1 month, they doubled in value.
Nice.
Because I believe in him, right? That's it.
You're bought in. Yeah, you're bought in. And that's the thing, we have leaders, right? And then we have people that are right there with them, supporting them. And that's something that everyone works at a team. But if you don't have that common piece to buy into, that mission, those common goals, then it just doesn't work. So that's what you see in him, and that's what they see in you.
For sure, right? Absolutely. I mean, like knows like. At the end of the day, like knows like, and you're trying. I mean, I like Jim Schaefer. I like this guy. So when I see people that remind me of me, I like them, right? Like I want to hang out with these people. So anyway.
He's not as good a singer as Jim Neighbors, but yeah, he's a great guy. Hey, you should check out Mark Moss. Check out Mark Moss on YouTube too. He's very Mark Moss on YouTube. Very good guy as far as understanding finances.
Thank you. I may or may not. That sounds like not fun. It doesn't sound fun to me, Rodney. I'll listen to you tell me about him, and then I'll see what you do next, and you tell me.
There you go. Yeah. So Jim, you guys you have several locations around town, right? I know you're expanding. You're also in Southern Indiana,
So started out in Southport, branched to Plainfield, then reached out to Greencastle, then swung back all the way down to Scottsburg, then Greensburg, then Seymour.
Nice.
So 6 locations, and definitely some other things in the works, for sure. Because, if you're not growing, you're dying. I do believe that. And I believe in the talent pool that I have. So if we're not growing to meet the talent that I have, then I think I'm failing the company too. So we're going to keep growing because we have the talent to do it. I owe it to them. They chose to hang their banner under mine. So I owe it to them to make sure that we're looking towards tomorrow and more stability, more money, more ROI on our efforts.
There you go. Yeah, you got to always be progressive for sure. And this industry, it's a huge piece of our economy, but it is ever changing. So if you're
Sure.
not at the forefront, you definitely are getting left behind.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what is it? So Rocket Fuel, what was the other book you mentioned?
Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning. I don't think I've read that.
I have to check that one out.
Viktor Frankl, he went through a concentration camp. He had some psychology education, if not a degree. And he just talks about those times, during World War II. And it's so profound and perspective. If anything, it's perspective. Like, my gosh,
that's
the day in the life of, like, I'm the most fortunate person I know after reading that book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we were at a conference last week in Charleston, and one of the speakers was like, what's your struggle moment? Everybody always asks what your big why is. Like, okay, that's common. But he's like, it's more about what have you struggled through to get you to the other side. That's your why.
My moment was 08. My moment when I learned what metal I truly have in this world was 2008. The company wasn't strong. We were a refi shop, so the house went dead. I actually started doing interviews with other companies so that I wouldn't take the salary from my company, so I wouldn't have to lay people off.
Oh,
and I remember just being. I remember the moment when I was sick of being afraid. Like I'm tired of it. I refuse to be afraid anymore. I'm not going to do this. I'm done. So from here on out, my mindset has changed. My outlook has changed, and I refuse to wallow in my own excuses. And wow, and then 09 hits, right? And then and it's like the depression, right? The Great Depression. They talk about, like, I remember like TV shows where grandma puts like vegetables and canned foods in the bottom of her dresser drawer because she's just in case. I held on to more dollars than I should because every day I would look at my operating account and just be like, okay, it's still okay. It's still okay. You are okay. Like it was a transition to understand, like, okay, you're breathing. You're all right. Let's use that money wisely now. Let's stop just staring at it. Let's reinvest. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you do get paralyzed, I think. And if you can learn from those lessons, you will never go back to that. So
100%. It was the master's degree moment in my career. It was the quintessential shift in my own personal thinking. And, one of those things truly was sports and realizing that what could make me the best at my craft in a football game as a football player could make me great at the game of life. So just up the stakes.
Yeah.
Just play a new game because it's the same, I think sports are arbitrary. But at the same time, what is it? The reps, the dedication, the hard work, without those things, you're not in the game. So it was huge for me.
So football, I would have guessed golf.
Soccer.
Soccer.
I'm a big soccer
like
guy.
a really fast guy.
I'm nimble. I'm swift. You got to watch me out there. It's incredible.
So where did you go to college and play football at? Where were you at?
I went to University of Evansville.
Oh yeah. Purple Aces, right?
Purple Ace. I was a Purple Ace. There was one more season after mine, and then they dropped the program.
Oh, you're kidding.
I think it was because of me. I think it was because of the impact that I had, but
we've had the best. We can't get any better. So
just call it quits.
We peaked. We're done.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, no, the sports thing, with our team, I use sports analogies all the time. And one of the first questions I have for anybody coming into our world is, did you ever play team sports? And I'm just curious about that because of the discipline, the dedication, and the fact that you come and show up every day as a team player. So I love that.
And that's so true. I mean, I think I'd have been probably a decent wrestler, but team sports are what appealed to me because I liked being a part of a greater whole, right? I like that. Like that so much appealed to me and definitely segued into the real world.
Yeah.
I'm better with a team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Rodney, do you have anything else? We should probably think about wrapping this up, but wow, this has been great.
Well, no.
Yeah,
We just got started. I got
know.
a 50 bullet point plan. I want to go through. I need at least 2 hours of your time.
I could go on and on. You know, I could talk forever, but I've got the men's league at 6 where I'm going to hit my ball.
Well, I'm up. Hey, anytime you need a color man, anytime you need, a little energy, you just let me know, and I would love to jump in.
Okay, I will do that.
If you want me to just heckle people, I will heckle. Whatever it takes.
On the sidelines, I'll just heckle them. Yeah, no.
Unfortunately, that still won't help me win.
I'm putting together a panel. I want to do an event probably next month or the following. So I'm going to reach out to you and join the panel, kind of a mastermind piece with this same StreamYard platform. So
thank you. I'm in.
Look for that invite, and then we'll be hanging out soon in Dallas. So
I look forward to it.
Tony Robbins.
Look forward to it.
Yep.
I may be sleeping on the streets, but I will be there.
I'm working on that. I think we found somebody else in that series. So.
Hey, it's me. It's not you.
Oh, so you mean you didn't get a hotel when we told you to?
It was 45 days. You know what? I should have listened.
Tony Robbins.
I'm still a little stubborn. I get it. I'm sorry. I'll stay at the Days Inn. I'm fine.
I'll save the day. It's okay. I'm used to this. I'll save the day. It's all right. All right. We should wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Anytime. I'd love to do it again. You guys are awesome.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Well, thanks
take
for
care.
joining us on Herd Live. We'll see you next time.
Thank you all.
We're out.